Hi, my name is Bert, and this is the Still Life Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Still Life Podcast. As always, my name is Bert, and I'll be your host. You'll notice it seems like the volume has been turned up just a little bit on today's episode, and that's because I'm trying out a new position for my microphone. I've found that by repositioning the mic, I actually get better vocal clarity and obviously a little bit better projection than it had in the previous position. And while originally I liked the lower volume, I think just for the ease of listening, it makes more sense to have the mic in this position so you're not straining as much or don't have to turn the volume up as much to hear it, and then your ears get blasted out by loud advertisements. So I think from now on we're probably going to keep it like this. And with that said, let's go ahead and move on to today's topic. So, really, I wanted to give you guys an update on the job hunt. I've got a few promising prospects as of current, but I'm still kind of scrambling to figure something out. I'm not opposed to learning and trying new things. I mean, if you think about it, we're only too old to learn when we're dead. As long as we're alive, we can continue to learn and grow in a vast number of ways. And so, even though I'm in my late 30s, I still have a long way to go and a lot left that I can learn. And quite frankly, I'm open to learning. That attitude and that mindset has never changed. So, my door is open to damn near any career opportunity. Obviously, of course, I have bills that I have to pay, so I can't make minimum wage. Having 3 kids, unfortunately, isn't cheap. And, if I were by myself with no kids, sure, I could afford to make a lot less. But, unfortunately, that's not the case. I've got to make money to support my children, and I have to pay my bills. So, I've got to make a decent amount of money. Now, I don't need to make 6 figures a year. Would I like to? Oh, absolutely, without question. But I don't need to. Which really leads me to the point that, as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to make a ton of money. I've never been super concerned with making tons of money. I'd like to make enough to pay my bills, take care of my children, and be able to enjoy some nice things. Typically experiences, traveling. I love to go fishing. So, of course, new fishing gear. I'd love to one of these days maybe get a bass boat. Who knows? But I would like to make enough to live life comfortably and continue to do the things that I enjoy doing. Now, outside of that, I don't need to make a ton extra. I don't need to. I've never needed to. So having a super high-paying job has never been really that important to me. Again, if one were offered to me, I probably wouldn't turn it down, but it's not 100% necessary at this stage in my life. So when it comes to work and income, think about for you, what are you comfortable with? How much are you comfortable with bringing home? If you're like me and you're searching for a job, or maybe you're looking for a new career, a new opportunity, is it all about trying to find more money? Is that really what's going to make you happy at the end of the day? Or do you want to make enough money and also be able to enjoy a quality life either on your own or with a significant other or with your family? Those are very important things that I think we oftentimes overlook in the career search because we're just so focused on making more money or finding a new opportunity because we're burnt out. We're burnt out because we're overworking ourselves, overextending ourselves, and not taking time away from work physically, mentally, or emotionally. And that's a huge problem. I honestly believe that's part of the reason why so many people have, a quote-unquote midlife crisis, is because they've worked so hard for so long, they've forgotten how to enjoy parts of life. And so they kind of freak out, do, rash things, make rash decisions that sometimes don't make any sense because they feel like they've not been living this whole time. And so I want the ability to balance that. And, there's so many companies, corporations out there that say, oh, well, yeah, we provide great work-life balance. I've not seen that anywhere yet. It's always one of those things like a catchphrase that they say to get you hooked and get you on board and in the door. Oh, yeah, they have great work-life balance. when at the end of the day, you're working 50, 60 hours a week, or when you're not at work, you're still at work. You're getting emails, text messages, phone calls from your boss or coworkers or whatever. So you're never truly able to unplug, unwind, relax, and step away from your work. And it almost seems like there's this corporate or business mentality of the longer we have people plugged in, the more productive they are. And it's actually quite the contrary. The more you feed into your employees' ability to live a normal life outside of work and be able to unplug, the more productive they're going to be in the workplace because they're not burnt out. They didn't go all weekend responding to emails, phone calls, and text messages that were related to work to come in Monday and be refreshed. Nobody's ever refreshed after that because it just doesn't happen. That doesn't exist. And I think really there's this expectation, even as an hourly employee, that you're expected to be on call 24/7 and you're expected to answer work-related things 24/7, when in all actuality, once you're off the clock, you're off the clock. Now, if you're salaried, obviously you're a little bit different, and there's exceptions to that because you're in that salaried position. And I don't know too many people out there that don't understand that if you're a salaried employee, 99% of the time, you're tied to the job 24/7. You may not get called on 24/7, but if something is needed of you, whether or not you're at work, you got to answer the call. And it's also been my experience that, in a workplace where they say, oh, well, you're family, or, oh, you're more than just a number, you're a person. You're only family and you're only a person as long as it benefits the business. If it doesn't benefit the business, nah, you're just a number. Somewhere along the line, the human element has been taken out of being an employee or being an employer. And really, that's a pretty awful place to be when you see most people as easily expendable or replaceable. I mean, sure, there are times when you have to take out the personal element of what's going on in someone's life and make a business decision. But at the same time, compassion goes a very long way in the workplace. I feel like often we get stuck in these cold environments that are so business-oriented that we've forgotten that there's actually humans that work in the business. They have feelings and emotions, and while they can't be attended to all the time, there should certainly be a degree of humanism within the workplace, and especially when it comes to making some of the difficult decisions. And again, I understand sometimes you have to make a decision regardless of what that person is going through. Completely understandable. But at the same time, like I said, having compassion in certain situations can go a very, very long way. So really, regardless of the position that we are in within an organization, business, or whatever the case may be, maybe sometimes we need to hit that pause button and remember to be more human. At the end of the day, everybody's going to benefit from that. And with that, I'd like to thank you for joining me again today on the Still Life Podcast. As always, for questions, comments, topic ideas, or suggestions, or to become a sponsor of the Still Life Podcast, please email us, thestilllifepodcast@gmail.com. That's thestilllifepodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for joining me today on the Still Life Podcast, and we'll talk again soon.